Welcome to America's Third Party. Liberty, equality, and sustainability are what we strive to achieve. Join the voter revolt at AmericasThirdParty.com. Good evening. Welcome to America's Third Party and Truth Tuesday. Hello, I'm David Sponheim, and I will be your host tonight for a long discussion on all of the issues that we may or may not agree. Truth, falsehoods, what's really behind the recent Paris attack? Who was behind the Paris attack? Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's find out exactly how we're going to save our nation with American jobs, where we spell it out at America's Third Party, and all the other guys, the Republicans, the Democrats, they don't. None of the other third parties have the answers that we offer at America's Third Party. All right, so we were going to talk to you about cleaning the ocean, and the dolphins behind me are really important because they resemble what really is beautiful about Earth, I believe. That we have a serious responsibility to be stewards of the earth. But we've got people in the world that want to destroy the earth as rapidly as possible so that they can take over the earth. I know that sounds absurd, but when you look at the trajectory of the global collapse of the environment, you're seeing a complete, purposeful modification of weather using chemtrails, and we'll talk about that more later tonight. All the proof is out there of purposeful alteration of the weather and the atmosphere by agencies that seem to be immune to the government. The government, in many cases, don't even know where these planes are going. Oftentimes, they nearly run into actual planes that are flying officially for the FAA. So they're dumping chemicals in the atmosphere, they're altering the weather, and the very people that are trying to control our country's politics are trying to push us into war. And now they want to get us involved with this overly zealous attack on Muslims, claiming that they're somehow responsible for the terrorist attack in Paris. We have a bigger problem to deal with, and that's Earth. Not hating on Syrians, not hating on Russia, not creating a crisis in Syria that forces all these refugees from around the world to now come into our country. I mean, this is the most convoluted administration our nation has ever had under Obama. They're all over the place. And I thought Bush was bad. This is even worse. So the dolphins are here just as a temporary reminder that we have a bigger responsibility, and that is to get rid of pollution, clean up the environment, and make it better. But we've got a little problem coming. We've got people, these same people that want to poison our atmosphere, also want to put RFID chips in our body. They want to use computer technology in the worst way to turn us into some sort of biometric clones or drones. I'm not kidding. This is real. Transhumanism. Look it up. It's actually a very edgy world of technocrats and plutocrats, people that have all kinds of money like Donald Trump. I wouldn't doubt people like that would want, augmented features, greater sight ability, better memory. I mean, there's some people that might buy into the chip in the brain concept. I personally will never do it. And as president, I will offer to do an x-ray of my head and body for everyone to see in real time, once a month, or whatever's appropriate from the doctor's perspective. At least my brain, something non-invasive, even an MRI would be good, so that you'll know that I don't have a chip in my head. Because the truth of the matter is, here on Truth Tuesday, is our president does. He has something going on with his head. And if you haven't heard on our show before, and I have to reiterate this because some of you are new, he really does have a scar on the back of his head, which could very likely indicate surgery, neurosurgery, in fact. I see that. Wow. Okay, here we go. We're back up in just a second. Hold on. That was a minor glitch in our video signal. We're back up. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with that. Sometimes we're having a little brownout here, so we're going to be having some problems with some of the video at times during our show. But we'll try to give you a portion of our show and then bring some more when we get back, if we get back. Okay, so I wanted to get this out of the way because the scar is indicative of some sort of a brain chip installed in his head. I'm not sure what. All right, that's the truth. You can deny it all you want. I can show you more pictures, but he really does have a scar in his head. And neurosurgeons have said that it is indeed indicative of neurosurgery. So what are they hiding from the American people? That's the next question. Why are they hiding it from the American people? If he had a brain tumor, I think the American people needed to know that, don't you think? Joe Biden needed to, step up and do something if something was going on. I mean, so we have to know whenever our president is sick. Because you don't know a damn thing about your president, not even his birth certificate, whether it's really his or somebody else's or forged or whatever.
Corey Feldman had...
Okay, there's a person who's come forth about he's a victim of satanic Hollywood and the pedophile rings that are going on there. He refuses to name names. A former child star, Corey Feldman, allows the satanic abuse to continue because of his silence. He is a victimizer, in my opinion. This is a woman's opinion about Corey Feldman. I mean, I don't think that's really fair to bring that in. Corey denied ever having had problems with that. So I'm not really sure if we can play that. David, I'm alone, no job, no money, no home, no family, no friends, but I'm happy to watch your show. Thank you. You are white but honest. Thank you. I guessed your show making you more sensitive. Thank you, Guest 425. Wow. Tell it like it is, the truth. It's not easy being where you are, alone. No money, no home, no family, no friends. And you come into a show where you can talk to people like we were your friends. That's a kind of a nice thing, don't you think? At this point, the Paris attacks, in my opinion, are real. But more importantly, even if they weren't real, the same people that would have perpetrated the attacks would have also faked the attacks. So we're still looking at the perpetrators. Either way, that's my take on the situation in Paris. Now, the big question about governors blocking Syrian refugees, 24 states have said that they will block them. And then the media is already working the propaganda, acting like these governors are, not patriotic or something. They're painting a story here. Check this out. The completely controlled Google NSA News here says, in the wake of the deadly terror attacks in Paris that killed at least 129 people, more than half of America's governors are now expressing some degree of opposition to the Obama administration's plan to relocate thousands of Syrian refugees to their state. Those two things are completely unrelated. Terrorist attack on Paris and the other allowing refugees, completely unrelated. Yet they tie the two together in a story to make you think that there's some relationship. It's complete propaganda. Classic. Disinformation. This tactic is going on daily in American press. Hey, are you on Prozac? Yeah, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't talk about big pharma other than to say, you need to be careful. Yeah, I'm just excited. Argentina, yeah, they're trying to kill off the match, but they've not yet tested Ospina, much despite their long spells of possession in Colombia's half. Is the story about a soccer match here, guys? 721? Because that's not really relevant to our show. Yeah, there's talk about 1 million Syrian refugees who've gotten back into their home and are happy. According to Russia Today, the Syrian refugees are back, and many of them are just very thankful that Russia's attacking ISIS. Your sister gained 100 pounds starting and taking Prozac? That's crazy. Wow. And for a young woman, that could be devastating emotionally. It's hard to lose 100 pounds once you gained them. Depakote, antipsychotic, makes you gain weight. There you go. Yeah. See, that's the problem with a lot of those big pharma things. They have a synergistic reaction in your body. Yeah, looks like immigration to the European Union stopped, yeah. Angela Merkel kind of backed off with the whole thing. But she's still open to the idea, I'm sure. You know, she's a socialist. I don't really want to talk about going to war because I can't even imagine anyone framing the necessity to go to war. I'm an anti-war person. We even have an anti-war rally on Saturdays. So the idea of going to war is an anathema to me. I cannot possibly come up with a logical reason why we would ever start a war in Syria, fund rebels with $500 million of your tax money, and none of you got that money. Rebel troops got it so they could buy brand new Toyotas and pose like ISIS forces. You know, and then NORAD's now holding training flights early Wednesday in the DC area. Lots of things going on, scrambling jets, saber rattling, missiles fired off from Los Angeles about 10 days ago. I mean, it's crazy what's happening around the world. So I will bring on something more interesting. I'm going to check the Dow Jones average before I get into the show too deeply. This is kind of a night of fireside chat, you know. Yeah, so kind of kick back and watch me discuss issues with the chat room. Okay, let's see what we've got here.
Well, they haven't played it safe with the way the car looks, that's for sure. The ATSB still follows the arts and science design motif Cadillac debuted over a decade ago, but really it's matured wonderfully. The Tucson is completely redesigned for 2016, with a reworked interior and restyled body. There's a new powertrain choice as well.
For some reason, I'm not getting the Dow Jones for the day here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Closed up 6 points. It erases the gains that it made yesterday. Okay. Right. None of you are investors anyway, so no need to worry. You worked there for 12 years and you lost your money on JCPenney stock? Wow. I've heard that their quality is trying to get better. You know, that's the word on the street is JCPenney's is trying to pick up, you know, better quality merchandise and luring customers back for the holidays. It's going to be a big, like Black Friday. I mean, I've seen women today. I saw women running out to the Macy's to go shopping, and they were loaded. They had lots of money. They got a free day ahead of any sales. They could come in this week at Macy's. And you invest in real stuff, bitcoins, precious metals. Yeah, don't hate me. Is anybody hating me? David, are you scared to lose your life for freedom? No, I didn't go to Macy's, no. And I'm not scared to lose my life for freedom. My father risked his life when he was much younger than I am. He went to 3 tours of duty in the Marianas in the Philippines and fought the Japanese. And he went back 3 times. And he saw all of his buddies on each trip dying off around him. So he already got to the point where, he got many years out of his life. But I mean, I've had 55 years out of my life, and I feel like now is the time to do something important and not just, hide in a corner until I'm 90 or 100. So yeah, I'm willing to take chances to save the nation. We've been fighting communism, my family has, for, since the 50s. And we're still fighting communism, to the point where people are calling me communist because I have this concept called hybrid capitalism, which involves the government getting a return on investment. It's a very simple plan, but they call it communist because the government creates government jobs doing this. It's really sad that they don't understand the differences between our hybrid capitalism and the false nature of communism. Communism wants to take away your private property. I would never do that. Communism would want to have the will of the many over the rights of the individual. I would never do that. I put the rights of the individual ahead of the will of the many. Whereas Hillary is very, very communistic. She puts the will of the many over the rights of the individual. She would rather chip you. She'd rather RFID chip you, Hillary would. She's even made comments that resemble almost a willingness, an agreement that we are all destined to be chipped. Scary statements unearthed about Hillary that make you wonder how this woman could even get to the point where she could become president, let alone become our president. It's just crazy. Let's take a look here. One of the techniques they're using, the chipping process. Hillary Clinton, there it is, right there. Okay, read this. At the rate that technology is advancing, people will be implanting chips in our children to advertise directly into their brains and tell them what kind of products to buy. And that's somebody endorsing it, mind you. That she's not saying that's a bad thing. She's endorsing it. So time is running out. We've got to stop this nemesis, this Democratic nemesis. She has no concern for your rights. She doesn't even want to make a stand on GMOs or on fluoride in our water system. She supports a war in Syria, as does Donald Trump and everybody else. We are so screwed right now with these two parties that our country is going to sit back and watch these same idiots send our young men off to die for no reason and no exit clause, no plan. I was watching Leon Panetta talk on camera yesterday on a YouTube site, and he was saying that we're going to be looking at a 30-year war in the Middle East. Any rational person would tell you we don't need to be there. Any rational person would say bring our troops home and start retracting our commitment. We don't need to lose any position, and we can still maintain the advantage with automation. We'll talk about that on our Saturday show. I have a plan for weapons-free safe zones in and around the populated regions in Afghanistan and Iraq. Syria, hands off. I would make an open effort to meet with Vladimir Putin and stop this insanity. I'm giving you a picture for reference here. This is the HARP program up in Alaska, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, HARP. And it's used to modify the weather and change the electromagnetic structure of the atmosphere. And ever since the 1960s, John F. Kennedy actually talked about advancing the goal of weather modification. He actually spoke on the subject, and he wanted to put together a plan to alter the environment, because I think his handlers were telling him you have to do this. So his commitment to creating chemtrails was documented. We actually have some audio of him I'll play later. But it's very interesting to see that John F. Kennedy endorsed this program. In fact, it was the thing that he said when he said, well, here, let me play it for you.
Mr. President, honored delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control. We shall propose, finally, a global systems of communication satellites linking the whole world in telegraph and telephone and radio and television. The day need not be far away when such a system will televise the proceedings of this body and eventually in further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
And that was what he meant when he said, we will go to the moon and do the other thing. The other thing was weather control. He didn't even want to say it because he knew that his handlers were proposing this. He didn't even tell people outright what it was. That's how secretive this whole program was. So they've been using weather modification in the Vietnam War. It's been going on for some time. So when you look up in the sky and see these long streamers in the sky, it's really a modification of chemicals that they're using. They're dumping in the air. Chemies in the air, do 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 do. And they do this because it's necessary to have the right chemical configuration to manipulate the weather using electromagnetic resonant waves. And they're able to triangulate these using these HARP arrays, and they're able to create whatever they'd like to desire. They can actually create earthquake using this same technology. And this is ancient technology. This is a 100-year-old technology, and the American people have never really been fully informed unless you do a search on the internet and find information about this. So unless you're actually tuned into what's happening, you have no idea. Most people will look at this and say, oh yeah, that's like, those are like really cool clouds, the way they make a zigzag pattern, man. But what they're dumping in the air is actually lithium that makes you more and more stupid and complacent. So they're actually using this technique to dumb you down while they're poisoning the skies and manipulating the weather. I mean, it's the most nefarious, evil thing you could ever imagine. You know, there are some people that believe that these artificial clouds are put out there to protect us from UV radiation. But I ask you, who caused the UV radiation? And second of all, right now they're using aerosols to spray these things, which are a big no-no. They decided they wanted them to dissipate faster, so they use aerosols now, which creates an even bigger empty hole in the greenhouse gases, creates a zero ozone space above us. Why would they do that? If you're saying they're trying to cover UV radiation penetration, they're actually making the hole bigger. And the dangerous UV radiation is extending out. The kind that causes cancer is getting worse and worse. So it's not kind of cool to go out and suntan anymore. If you want that effect, you're probably better off on a suntanning lab under a UV light. Seriously. I mean, the rich can get suntans no problem, but they too are running the risk of cancer. You know, you can't exactly do that to your skin, your largest organ, and treat it like it's some sort of a, piece of leather, piece of old leather. Well, give me a shot. Give me a shot to look more than what I am. I mean, the fact that the entire system is so completely censored denies me access to any credible discussion on the internet or the issues outside of the internet. The fact that this entire censorship has been going on for some time, and the fact that they're dumbing down the population, it's a perfect storm for non-activity. If you wonder why apathy is so prominent in America and people don't care about anything, it's because they're systematically dumbing us down on a daily basis, turning us into mental midgets, so we can't even do what is called critical thinking. And when people listen to me and they don't understand what I'm saying, it's because they would rather call me a name, because that's what people do when they have no intelligence or they're ignorant. Name calling is rampant in the Democratic Party. They call people a birther or truther or a whack job, for lack of a better word, if they don't agree with you. And that's a sign of a lack of intelligence. And the Democrats, I'm calling them Democrats now, because I figure if they're going to use name calling against me, I'm going to at least change the name to Democrats. Okay? I'm not gay, and I don't know why you think I talk like a fag. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have seen homosexuals talk, and most of them talk in a different way. No. That's just not true. I'm an expert on dialects and dialogue. I can tell you that a gay person would stand here and go, I'd like to talk about this, whereas I'm talking like this. So if you believe that this conversation is gay, I'm going to bet that you're a homosexual and you are secretly desiring me. I have seen homosexuals talk like that. I don't think I sound gay, but what if I did? If the whole show was in that tone, why would you call me a name? Do you realize that if the Republicans and the Democrats continue taking, I'm not wearing lipstick, if the Republicans and Democrats continue taking charge in this society, you will be hogtied and whipped for calling somebody gay someday. You realize that? You will no longer have the right to call somebody gay. They will define what you're allowed to say. It'll be called hate speech, and you'll be arrested if they continue to have their way. So the last person you want to call gay is me. Dude, you have no idea. Many people who have a serious mental problem and they're secretly bi-curious and they find me attractive, you'll notice that the real homophobes come out in the woodwork here. And they pop in the room and they start talking about gayness. Yes, I can do an impersonation of Richard Simmons flawlessly. But that's not the point. It's not really something I'd care to do. Yeah, so the Dow Jones Industrial Average is really kicking some serious butt. Add 6 points. Totally. Yeah. Very uneventful day. A gay Agent Smith, I could never do that. Agent Smith is the embodiment of heterosexuality, but not really heterosexuality, more like dominance. The Democrats have been horrible to me. They act like absolute imbeciles, calling me names, stealing my signs. Not really. I've met a lot of people in my time. I used to know people in LA that were openly gay. I don't own any stock. I'm not an investor. And, I met the first lady, not the first lady of the country, but I met the first woman who died of AIDS back in 1985, I believe, 84. Something like that. She was a lesbian. So it's not that I've never been around homosexuals. I've been around a lot of them. It's just that I'm not gay. So when you listen to somebody's voice, you should realize that there's a big difference in the tonality of a homosexual man. Even like a mask, a homosexual mask guy, a guy who's masculine. He'll probably talk like, hey, how you doing? What's going on, man? What's happening, big buddy? Living large, buddy. Now that's the homosexual mask voice. It's an overcompensation for their obvious homosexuality, which is shielded by the deep voice. And then you get the femme who talks. So there's a whole vernacular of colloquialisms that gay people use, which indicate that they're gay. But it doesn't matter if they are. It's okay. So if you're a homophobe sitting at home wondering why you're so attracted to other guys like me on the internet, don't lay your trip on me, man. Yeah, that's not my problem. I have been around a lot of homosexuals in Hollywood. Yeah, it's true. I dated a woman once who happened to be at the vortex of the Hollywood scene, and she knew all these gay guys that were, in Hollywood. So she kind of paraded me around as her boy toy. And I'm just not that way. I'm not a boy toy. So the relationship broke up when she realized that she didn't even know who she had as a boyfriend. I don't know a lot about homos. I just know one when I see one. Any questions? I hate coffee scum. That's the worst. All right, so we have some things to discuss. The Paris. Come on, you got a question? Ask the question. Nope, I think the voting age is just fine where it's at. I don't necessarily think that young people under the age of 21 should become alcoholics or do drugs. And I don't think they should serve time on the front line in a war. So if you were to join the military, I will not put anyone who's under the age of 21 on the front line in a battle. And we probably won't have a lot of battles because I don't foresee a ground war in America under my leadership. We're going to be moving a lot of our emphasis around the world on rotating unmanned vehicle forces. We still keep the 2 million man army because I'm going to use those million man army. We have 2 million men and women in the armed forces. We're going to use a lot of those people to improve operations at our airports. Well, I'm just trying to limit the guest chatter that seems to have a problem with his brain. And if I can do it quicker than that, I will. Well, banning the spammer actually creates another problem. He'll open up with other spam. What they're trying to do is make me ban their IP, which bans 200,000 potential viewers in their area. Well, not really. I just don't believe that it's time for you to get messed up in your head. You know how many young people die of alcohol overdose? There are a lot of people that die every year of alcohol poisoning. It can happen. You can't imagine how bad that is. The spammer is not only a Democrat, but he's also probably psychotic. You can't imagine how bad it is because you have no idea how bad it is. If I could show you a glimpse of the truth, it would be where you don't want to go.
Ever and ever. The burn forever and ever and ever. The burn forever and ever and ever.
No, I am not psychotic, but if you believe in hell, there's probably a place for you. No, I'm not delusional either. I believe that an average American can actually become president. The spammer is definitely a Democrat. Look at the stupid thing he's using as spam. That's all you can afford? You're obviously running out of money. That's got to be the cheapest of all the avatars on the system. Ban the damn. I didn't wish you to hell for something questioning your sanity. No. I just said you'll probably find your destiny when you accept your fate. And I showed you a picture of hell. I never said you're going to hell. It's not me to judge. No, you're the liar. I'm doing a pretty good job of... Trump is a corporate pig who will probably ruin our country. He acts like a Hitler. Trump wants to set up a deportation force to kick everybody who he doesn't like out of the country. I'm not posing as a guest. I'm not a compulsive liar. I've never lied in my life. You, on the other hand, lie every day. I'm not posing as a guest. That would be pretty low if I was posing as a guest, don't you think? No, sir, you are a compulsive liar. Hey, and this name calling isn't going anywhere, so can I change backgrounds? Let's get a little music going on the show. What do you say? Something more fun that we can, play music to. Enjoying the background is part of the deal, Don't you want to enjoy your day? Have fun? I've got a song that you'll love to hear. It's Can't Stop Spamming, and you're going to love this song. We can't stop spamming because we won't stop. We're going to spam all night. Yeah.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, 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 we can't stop.
So let's people.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
For president.
You like that? We can't stop. It does suck, doesn't it?
Please vote.
Just wake up to the opposition, everybody. They all want to knock every bit of our democracy down to nothing. They want to get rid of everybody who believes in democracy. They want to take away our rights. These are the Nazis that come in our room every night and hate on what we're doing because they can't stop what we're doing. We've got them by the short hairs and they know it. Donald Trump will not win because he'll drive votes to Hillary, and they don't like Hillary. I never did anything of the sort. That's an outrageous allegation, and it's untrue.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight.
Your problem is you can't stop me. And that's a reminder to you that you are basically dealing with something far bigger than you or your little mindless brain. You need to wake up to what's happening. ISIS was created by somebody who's very friendly with Israel.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim.
Okay, the Muslims hate Jews. Muslims are ISIS. Why don't they attack Israel? This is a huge question. You need to ask this question. I'll tell you, when Israel gets everything they want, including the safety of never being attacked, you got to wonder, are they complicit in this? I do not support the Zionist policies of Donald Trump. I will not be Israel's apologist. We will come down on them with economic sanctions to prevent any type of Muslim human rights violations. All right. So we can basically step in and instigate. This third party cannot be like the current Zionist two-party system. We've got a problem with the hegemonic powers of the Zionists throughout our society as well, where you see more and more Jewish people who are bankers, lawyers, doctors. And you know, I like Jewish people. There's nothing wrong with Jewish people because Jewish people are not Zionists. Get that through your head. No, Jewish people are good people, and I personally would condemn anti-Semitism of any kind. But we need more opportunity for everybody, and I think everybody would agree to that, even Jewish people. No, I could easily shut this off. It's not a big deal. The spammer is not controlling my show. And we will do guest off because it's time. No big deal. We have enough people we can talk now. Well, it turns out people are, being nice to people doesn't necessarily solve the problems. No, Jewish people are good people. I've never met anybody who was stereotypically Jewish. whatever that means. We're all people, is what I'm saying. But anyone who believes that they want total control of the world and own all the capital and all the monetary systems in the world, I've got a problem with those people. And those people would be called Zionists. I have a person in town who calls himself a Zionist. I respect his privacy, I respect his belief, but I'm not a Zionist and I don't agree with him. Meet the family that spent half of its entire income paying Obamacare. Here's an interesting truth. Wild. Okay, this is coming from Zero Hedge. Yeah, I want to legalize marijuana for sure. Thank you, Scissor Fight. Meet the family that just spent half its annual income paying for Obamacare. Not a week passes without some incremental revelation showing precisely what happens when Congress passes a bill just to see what's in it. Yeah, well, since the passage of the Affordable Care Act, it's not very affordable, I might add, also known as the Obamacare tax, we have watched it in horror as shocker after shocker are revealed. In the latest Obamacare fiasco, most low-income workers can't afford Affordable Care Act. The stunning explanation an insurance company just used to boost health premiums by 60%. Wow. Your health insurance premiums are about to go through the roof. The stunning reason why, and Obama promises health care premiums would fall $2,500. They have climbed $4,865. Wow. So everything about Obamacare was exactly like we predicted. Insane, over the top, too costly, and literally starving the American people out of every dollar they have. They never got rid of the rising cost of health care. It was horrible. And they kept creating more problems, more costs, and never put any limitations, and didn't create more public doctors, and never provided a public option. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, David.
How was your
How are
day?
you?
I'm good.
Windy.
It's
Rainy.
incredibly windy. You know, I moved one of the vehicles
Yes. it's
simply
really-
because I was looking at one of the tallest
You're
trees we
like,
have here.
I hope that tree doesn't fall on that
Seriously.
vehicle. I know.
I'm looking at a tree that's 70 feet in the air, getting blown with 40-mile-an-hour winds, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm looking at its root, and it's like, you know, you can actually
Moving.
see the root kind of lift up toward the end, and I said, I got to get away from that tree. So yeah, we got a big windstorm going on here.
Very big windstorm.
You know, if I lose the tree, I'll just hack it up and make firewood out of it.
Yes.
Whatever.
I wouldn't want to lose a vehicle. So I'm glad you moved it.
Yeah, I looked at that and I said that vehicle would get crushed by that tree.
Hello, Ronnie, a.k.a. Winchell,
Thanks.
a.k.a. whatever your other name is.
You got wind in California. The whole West Coast is inundated with wind right now. You know, I'm not a big supporter of the Zionist belief that the global domination is what they're trying to achieve. But when you look at a Zionist like Donald Trump, who now married into the Jewish families because his daughter married a Jewish person, I'm a little concerned that he's got his fingers in the cookie jar, if you know what I mean. He's getting too much money. I will not accept funding from AIPAC. That's a flat-out solemn promise to you. I will not receive any funding ever, even if they were to offer it to me. The American Israeli Political Action Committee cannot fund this third party ever. Wow, you are really out to lunch,
She's
Beekman.
saying that about me because I come in here and I always yawn, which I just did.
You can
But
yawn
it's
all you
not
want.
because of you.
No, you
It's
can
just
feel free.
because I had a long day.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, we're going to get rid of the background and